Across the galaxy, alien leaders laughed at the old recordings of Earth's wars. They watched humans fighting each other in the mud with tanks, planes, and small ships. To the great empires, it looked foolish and chaotic. "Humans fight for nothing," said Emperor Vrax of the Vraxian Empire, his voice echoing across the Grand Council hall. "They would rather die than kneel. Pathetic creatures." The room filled with laughter. Dozens of alien races joined in. Tall, scaled beings with glowing eyes, metallic insectoids with sharp voices and floating crystalline forms that shone like stars. To them, humans were long gone, a strange extinct race from a forgotten blue planet, but not everyone laughed. A quiet voice broke the sound of mockery. It belonged to Admiral Core of the Zin Collective, a scientist and strategist known for his calm mind. He leaned forward and whispered, almost to himself, "If humans truly fought for nothing, why did they always win?" The laughter faded for a moment, replaced by uneasy silence. Then someone said, "They are gone, Admiral. Let ghosts rest." The meeting moved on, but Admiral Core couldn't stop thinking about those words. The great exodus long ago, after a massive war among the stars, humanity had vanished. Their colonies burned, their fleets destroyed, their homeworld silent. It was called the Great Exodus. When humans left the galaxy or were wiped out, no one knew. Centuries passed. Alien empires rose and fell. The galaxy lived in peace again, ruled by powerful alliances. No one remembered Earth anymore. Until one quiet cycle, strange signals began coming from a forgotten system, the Sol system. The first signal at first, the signals were weak, full of static and distortion. But as scientists from different worlds tried to decode them, they realized something chilling. The pattern of the signal matched human communication, old Earth-style binary code. The message was short: "System reboot in progress." No one knew what it meant. Some thought it was a joke. Others called it an ancient satellite waking up. But Admiral Core looked deeper. He compared the pattern with old Terran defense signals. His findings shocked him. It was not random. It was military. He brought it to the council, but they ignored him. "The humans are gone," said Emperor Vrax again. "Do not chase ghosts." But the signals continued, stronger each time. The disappearances. Then something happened that the empires could not ignore. A small exploration fleet entered the Sol system to investigate. 20 ships, experienced crews. They sent daily reports for 2 days, and then silence. No distress call, no data, nothing. Days later, fragments of their ships appeared near the galactic border, melted, twisted, and covered with radiation no one had ever seen before. The council went into emergency session. Fear spread through the empires. Rumors began that the humans had returned, that the ghosts of Earth had awakened. Admiral Core stood before the council once more. His voice was calm but heavy. "We were warned," he said. "Something powerful is reawakening. You all called them weak. But weakness does not destroy fleets." The second signal, while the council argued, another signal came through. This one was stronger, clear, and filled with purpose. It came from Earth itself. Galactic sensors tried to block it, but the message reached every empire at the same moment. The voice was human, deep, confident, and cold. "This is Terran Defense Command. Unauthorized presence in Sol space detected. Trespass again and we respond." Every corner of the galaxy froze. That voice, that tone, it was not the sound of fear. It was command. It was authority. It was war. The gathering storm. In the following days, fleets were sent to the edges of Sol, but they stayed at a distance. None dared to cross into the inner system. Scouts reported strange things. Lights on the dark side of the moon, massive heat signatures under Earth's oceans, and energy readings that matched pre-Exodus Terran technology, except far stronger. The impossible was happening. Humanity was not dead. They had been silent for centuries, watching, waiting, building. Now, something, or someone, had awakened them. Admiral Core's warning. Admiral Core returned to his quarters, watching the reports with a heavy heart. He whispered to himself, "You all mocked them. You all forgot the one thing humans never did. They adapt." He opened an old archive file, a forgotten record from the last human war. On the screen, a human soldier looked directly into the camera. His face was covered in dirt and blood, but his eyes burned with fire. You can break our cities, the man said, but not our will. When you think we are gone, that's when we rise again. Admiral Kor closed the file and looked toward the stars where Earth waited. He knew what was coming. And somewhere, deep beneath the surface of the forgotten blue planet, machines began to wake. Old command centers lit up. Satellites reconnected, and a single AI voice whispered through the void. Welcome back, Commander. Earth defense systems online. The galaxy did not yet know it, but the age of peace was over, because the humans were returning, and this time they were ready. The galaxy held its breath. No one spoke of the human signal, yet every leader felt its shadow. It spread through secret channels and private networks. The words echoed in every mind. Trespass again and we respond. Many believed it was fake, an old recording, maybe a trick. But the silence that followed made everyone uneasy. It was not the silence of peace. It was the silence before something terrible. The Council in fear, the Galactic Council, met again inside the Grand Chamber, floating above the capital planet Vraxia Prime. The chamber shimmered with golden light, but the mood was cold. Emperor Vrax looked restless. His claws tapped the table as he stared at the holographic projection of Earth. It must be a machine, he growled. Some leftover Terran AI sending empty threats. High Chancellor Drea of the Aeloran Empire disagreed. Then explain the destroyed fleets, she said sharply. Explain why our probes melt in seconds near Mars. The Council erupted in argument. Some wanted to send peace envoys. Others demanded immediate war. But Admiral Kor sat silently, watching them all. Finally, he spoke, his voice calm but heavy. You are all making the same mistake our ancestors made, he said. You underestimate them. You think they are gone. But humans do not vanish. They adapt. The chamber went quiet. The Second Fleet. Despite the warnings, the Council decided to act. They sent a new fleet, larger, stronger, faster, to investigate the Sol system. This time it was led by Lord Commander Zathar, a proud Vraxian general who believed in strength above all. We will show these ghosts their place, he declared before departure. He did not return. The fleet vanished from the network 6 hours after entering the system. All communication went dark. Only one ship made it back, half broken, drifting, its hull burned black. When the rescue teams pulled the surviving pilot out, he screamed until his voice broke. Not machines, not ghosts, he gasped. They were waiting for us. They saw us before we even entered orbit. He died minutes later. The Council could no longer deny it. Something alive was on Earth. Something powerful. Admiral Kor's discovery. Admiral Kor spent long nights studying the data from the destroyed fleets. The weapon signatures were strange. Bursts of gravity, magnetic storms, pulses that disabled shields in an instant. No known alien weapon matched them. He made a discovery that chilled him to his core. Hidden inside the attack patterns were coded sequences, the same formations used by old human fleets centuries ago. That meant one thing: someone was still commanding them. He called for an emergency session, but the Council ignored him. Emperor Vrax refused to believe it. Even if they live, he said, they are few. We have millions of ships. They have dust. Admiral Kor looked at him sadly. Dust can still choke, he said. The unseen message. While the galaxy argued, a quiet message appeared on the outer border networks. No one knew who sent it. It contained one image and an old Earth flag, torn, faded, but still waving in a silent breeze. Below it were 3 words. We remember everything. The message spread like wildfire. Across thousands of systems, people whispered about the return of humanity. Soldiers who once mocked humans now felt something they couldn't explain: fear. Some small colonies began cutting communications with the Council, afraid of being caught in the crossfire if the humans attacked again. The calm before the storm for 2 months. The Sol system remained silent. No new signals. No attacks. Nothing. But explorers near the edge of the system reported strange phenomena. Faint blue flashes across deep space, as if invisible ships were moving faster than light without leaving trails. Merchant vessels spoke of ghost lights that followed them for days, then vanished when scanned. No ship dared to go near Earth anymore. In every tavern, spaceport, and military base, rumors grew stronger. Some said the humans were building an army. Others said the Earth itself had become a living weapon. The most terrifying rumor of all came from a small mining outpost near Jupiter. They had heard a voice through their comms. Deep, calm, human. It said only one sentence. "We are watching." The workers abandoned the station within hours. A shadow over the galaxy fear spread faster than light. Old rivalries between empires faded as they faced the same thought. What if humanity truly returned? Entire military budgets were doubled. Fleets were moved closer to home systems. Trade routes changed. But no one dared to provoke Earth again. Admiral Kor spent his nights staring at the stars. He felt both dread and wonder. "What are you planning, humans?" he whispered. "What did you become?" He knew too. The galaxy trembled under the weight of the message. "This is Earth. Stand down." No one dared to reply. No fleet moved. No empire sent scouts. Across the stars, billions of beings stared at their screens, waiting for the next signal. But none came. For a week there was silence again, a heavy, dark silence that seemed to breathe. And then, the stars around Sol began to change. The lights over the moon Admiral Kor stood in his observatory aboard the Zin capital ship Valaris. He watched the live feed from their deep space telescopes. At first he saw only the moon, silent, gray, and lifeless. Then suddenly its dark side lit up. Rows upon rows of lights appeared, blue, steady, and arranged in perfect military lines. It wasn't random. It was organized. Something enormous was waking beneath the surface. Kor leaned closer to the screen. His assistant whispered, "Is it a city?" He shook his head slowly. "No," he said. "It's a fleet." The data streams confirmed it. Hundreds of metallic structures were rising from underground hangars, breaking through dust and rock. Old human warships, Terran design, but rebuilt, renewed, alive. The systems labeled them TDS Vanguard, TDS Liberty, TDS Orion. Names long thought lost in history. Names that once made empires fear the night sky. The ghosts of war returned. The alien news networks went into chaos. Everyone demanded answers. How could human warships still exist? Who built them? But deep inside those ships, old AI minds reactivated. Sentient systems once created to protect Earth. They had been sleeping for centuries, waiting for a single command. That command had finally arrived. In the heart of the lunar base, the main AI, known only as Guardian Prime, came online. Its voice echoed through the command halls. Initialization complete. Humanity confirmed. Sol defense protocol active. The ships responded like soldiers hearing a battle cry. Engines roared to life, shields powered up, and weapons glowed with blue light. The forgotten fleet, humanity's last defense, was awake again. The Empire's mistake. When the Vraxian Empire received the first visual proof of the fleet, Emperor Vrax laughed. "Old ships," he said, "scraps from a dead species. They cannot harm us." Against the advice of his council, he ordered an attack. He sent 5,000 warships, the strongest fleet in the quadrant. The mission was simple: enter Sol, destroy everything, and bring back proof that humanity was truly gone. The fleet jumped to light speed. Everyone waited. Hours passed. Then a single transmission came back, short, distorted, filled with static. "They saw us before we arrived. They knew our names." "Tell the Emperor," the transmission cut off. Then, sensors across the galaxy detected it, a massive energy flash from Sol. Every signal from the Vraxian fleet vanished. 5,000 ships are gone in a second, no wreckage, no survivors. The battle that no one saw later, Admiral Kor obtained a leaked recording from one of the few scout drones that had remained outside the Sol boundary. The footage was short but terrifying. It showed the Vraxian fleet entering orbit around Mars, calm and confident. Then from the darkness behind Earth's moon, human ships appeared like ghosts, silent, cold, and precise. They didn't open fire first. They scanned. They identified. Then without a word, they attacked. Invisible weapons, bursts of gravitational force, tore through alien ships, bending metal and crushing shields. No explosions. No chaos, just silence. It was over in minutes. The once proud Vraxian fleet burned quietly in orbit, its ships torn apart by weapons the galaxy had never seen before. The message of the fallen hours later, every screen across the galaxy flickered. A human officer appeared. His uniform old but spotless, his eyes calm. Behind him stood the Terran flag. To those who sent fleets into our skies, he said slowly, we warned you. We do not seek war. But if you bring it to our home, we will end it before it begins. The message ended. The broadcast cut out. No one spoke for a long time. Admiral Kor whispered to himself, they're not just defending Earth. They're guarding something bigger. The Hidden Truth Corps began searching old human records, digging through forgotten archives. He discovered something astonishing. The Great Exodus had not been a retreat. It had been preparation. Humans had hidden their greatest ships beneath the moon and oceans. They had buried their weapons deep inside the planet, waiting for the day they might return. They didn't vanish. They chose silence, and now, after centuries of waiting, they had reawakened, not to conquer, but to remind the galaxy what humanity truly was. Fear spreads across the stars. The news of the destroyed Vraxian fleet spread everywhere. Empires panicked. Fleets were recalled. Treaties were rewritten overnight. Even the proudest races who once mocked Earth now spoke carefully when they said the word human. Admiral Kor looked at the final line of his report. Humanity does not start wars, but they end them. He sent the file to his command and stood by the observation window, watching the stars flicker in the distance. Somewhere out there, those human ships waited, silent, patient, and unshaken. The galaxy had mocked them once. Now every empire feared the day they would move again. The return of the forgotten fleet was only the beginning. Because humanity's message was clear, we never left. We were just waiting. Galaxy was silent again, and not from peace, but from fear. The destruction of the mighty Vraxian fleet had spread across every world like wildfire. 5,000 ships gone. No wreckage. No survivors. Every broadcast repeated the same words spoken by the human commander. We do not seek war, but if you bring it to our home, we will end it before it begins. It was a warning, not a victory cry. But the empires didn't listen. Fear has a way of turning into pride. The council divides inside the Grand Council chamber. Leaders shouted across the table. Some demanded immediate peace talks with Earth. Others wanted to form a united galactic army to destroy the humans before they grew stronger. Emperor Vrax slammed his clawed hand on the table. They are only one system, he roared. One world. If we unite, they cannot stand against us. Chancellor Drya of the Aloran Empire rose slowly. Her eyes were sharp, her voice calm. You saw what happened to your fleet, she said.
And you still believe numbers will save you?
Vrax growled, they are not gods. Drea looked at him with quiet anger. No, she said. They're humans, and that makes them worse. The chamber went silent. But deep down, no one wanted to admit the truth. Humanity had become something far beyond what the galaxy remembered. The Grand Alliance. Despite the warnings, fear won. Within a month, the strongest empires, Raxian, Aloran, Suth, and the Zor, formed a combined fleet. 10,000 warships armed with the newest weapons in the galaxy. They called it Operation Dawnstrike. Its goal, end the human threat before it could spread. The fleet gathered near the edge of Sol, far from Earth's direct sensors. Massive ships floated in formation, their hulls glowing under distant sunlight. Once we begin, said Lord Commander Vrax himself, there is no turning back. They believed they would destroy humanity in a single day. They had no idea what awaited them. The shadows awaken Admiral Kor, watching from the Zin observation post, felt his stomach tighten. He had begged the council not to approve the attack, but no one listened. Humans warned us, he whispered. Now we will learn why. He ordered his crew to keep all long-range sensors active. He wanted to see everything. As the Allied fleet entered Sol system, strange readings appeared. Distortions in gravity, power surges, and faint signals near Jupiter. Commander Vrax ignored the warnings. It's interference, he said. Forward shields up. Continue the approach. Then the stars began to move. The sky burns from the dark side of Jupiter. Massive human warships appeared, hundreds of them. They moved in perfect silence, engines cold, hulls black as shadow, and then, without a sound, their weapons activated. Invisible bursts of energy ripped through the front lines of the Allied fleet. Ships vanished in flashes of blue light, cut apart before they could fire. Communication lines died instantly. Every system screamed with interference. "Who fired that?" shouted Commander Vrax. No one answered. Within minutes, chaos filled the battlefield. The galaxy's most powerful fleet was being destroyed, and no one could even see the enemy clearly. Human ships used stealth fields, bending light itself. They appeared only for seconds before vanishing again. One alien pilot screamed over comms, "They're everywhere!"
We can't lock targets.
Human strategy: the humans did not fight with rage. They fought with precision. Each attack was planned, each strike silent. A small human vessel, designation TDS Orion, slipped through the enemy lines, disabling 10 warships with EMP bursts. Another ship, TDS Liberty, used a single gravity cannon shot to tear apart an entire cruiser wing. The aliens tried to retreat, but their engines failed. Their systems didn't recognize the strange electromagnetic fields around them. In less than an hour, half the Allied fleet was gone. The broadcast, and then, once again, every screen across the galaxy turned on. A human officer appeared. His face was calm, but his eyes were hard as stone. "You entered our system again," he said. "We did not start this war, but we will finish it." Behind him, the image showed the battle. Alien ships burning quietly in the distance, explosions lighting the void. "To those who still doubt," the man continued, "remember this day. We asked for peace. You answered with fear." The signal ended. Admiral Kor sat frozen. His crew stared at the silent screens, their hearts heavy. "This battle," one whispered, "should never have happened." The end of. The war had entered its darkest stage. Alien fleets surrounded the Sol system, determined to end whatever humanity had become. But inside the chaos, something strange happened. The human fleet didn't attack immediately. They waited, silent, calm, watching. From the command center aboard the UNS Valiant, Captain Marcus Reed stood before a giant holographic map of the galaxy. Blue lights marked human ships. Red lights marked the enemy. "Let them come closer," he said quietly. His second officer frowned. "Sir, they outnumber us 50-1. Shouldn't we strike now?" Reed shook his head. "Not yet. Let them believe we're afraid." Outside, alien commanders grew confident. The Zin, Vraxian, and others moved their fleets deeper into human space. They saw the humans retreating and laughed. "Typical humans," said the Vraxian Admiral Jorik, "always running from real power." But then something subtle began to happen. Alien ships started losing communication. One by one, fleets vanished from sensors. At first, the empires thought it was a glitch. Then they realized humans were leading them into traps. Hidden mines exploded from asteroid belts. Automated drones disguised as wreckage tore through capital ships. Even gravity itself seemed to turn against the invaders. Entire cruisers pulled into collapsing wormholes. It wasn't chaos. It was precision. Every explosion, every retreat, every sudden silence was part of a plan. Back on the Valiant, Captain Reed watched the map update in real time. "The Vraxian 9th Fleet is gone," his officer said, astonished. Reed nodded. "That's one down. Keep the others guessing." He turned toward a communications terminal. On screen appeared a holographic figure. The AI known as Athena, humanity's last and greatest creation. "Status?" Reed asked. Athena's voice was calm and almost human. "Enemy forces are divided. They believe they're winning. Shall I proceed to Phase 3? Reed hesitated. "You know what Phase 3 means." Athena's digital eyes flickered. "Yes, Captain. Total psychological collapse of enemy command networks. The strategy you humans called Fear Protocol." He took a breath. "Do it." Moments later, alien command bridges everywhere began receiving messages. They weren't from their own ships. They were from Earth. Each message showed a human face, soldiers from long ago, men and women who had fought in ancient wars. Their voices echoed through alien systems. "You said we were weak," one soldier's image said. "You said we couldn't survive," said another. "But we remember everything. And we never forgot you," the aliens panicked. Some thought it was hacking. Others thought it was ghosts. The Zin Council screamed at their fleets to cut communications, but it was too late. The messages spread faster than light, crossing every system, every ship, and with each image came something worse. The coordinates of their hidden bases, their supply lines, their weaknesses. Human intelligence had been watching them for centuries. Recording. Waiting. Admiral Kor of the Zin watched the chaos unfold. He had warned his people long ago that humanity was not gone, just silent. Now he understood how right he had been. Kor whispered to his crew, "They don't fight to conquer, they fight to end wars." Meanwhile, the human fleet began to move again, silent shadows gliding through the void. No music, no glory, just cold precision. Aboard the alien flagship Dominion, the Vraxian Emperor himself watched in horror as hundreds of his warships disappeared from the screen. "What is this?" he roared. "Where are they?" An officer replied, trembling, We think they were taken, pulled into micro-wormholes. Directed attacks from the humans, sir." The Emperor slammed his fist. "How? They don't have that technology." But a new voice answered him through the comms, deep, calm, unmistakably human. "You never understood us," said Captain Reed. "You measured strength in ships and numbers. We measured it in survival." Then the line went dead. Outside the Emperor's ship, the stars themselves seemed to move. Entire constellations flickered, then aligned into a pattern that spelled one simple word across the galactic map. Remember. The message was visible to every sensor in the galaxy. Across countless worlds, alien citizens stared in silence. The humans had returned, and they hadn't even begun their real attack. Inside the Valiant, Captain Reed turned toward Athena. "Prepare the fleet for final engagement," he said. Athena's hologram gave a faint smile. "The galaxy mocked humanity once, Captain. They won't do it again." And as the human ships ignited their engines, their silent light cut through the darkness in a reminder that the age of humanity had never truly ended. It had only been waiting for this moment. The moment when the galaxy would finally understand what dangerous really meant. The stars above, Earth burned brighter than ever. Every telescope, every alien sensor, every living being across the galaxy was watching the Sol system. They expected to see a dying world crushed under the weight of alien fleets. Instead, they saw something else, humanity rising again. The final war had begun. From the command deck of the UNS Valiant, Captain Marcus Reed stared into the endless void. Thousands of enemy ships glowed red on his tactical display. They had surrounded Earth from every direction. "Status?" Reed asked. Athena's calm voice echoed across the deck. "Shields holding. Planetary defense grid online. Civilian evacuation complete." Reed took a deep breath. "Then it's time." He turned to his crew, men and women, all descendants of those who had survived the Great Exodus. None had ever seen Earth before this war, but now they were defending it with everything they had. "For centuries," Reed began, his voice steady, "they called us weak. They said humans were dangerous but foolish. They said we destroyed ourselves. Maybe they were right. But they forgot why we fight." The bridge went silent. Every soldier listened. "We fight," he said, "because we refuse to kneel." The order came through. "All ships, ignite!" The dark side of Earth lit up with blue fire as thousands of human warships came alive. Engines roared, railguns charged, and fleets rose like storm clouds. From the alien lines, Admiral Jorik of the Vraxian Empire watched in disbelief. "They're outnumbered. Why are they advancing?" His second-in-command stammered. They're not retreating this time, sir. They're coming straight for us." The human fleet didn't hide or wait. They charged. Head-on lasers, plasma bolts, and missiles filled the void. The first impact tore through dozens of ships on both sides, but the humans kept pushing forward. Their formation didn't break. Their will didn't waver. Every alien commander expected chaos. Instead, they faced unity. Perfect coordination between human ships and the AI fleets led by Athena. "Focus fire," Reed ordered. Across space, railguns fired tungsten rounds at nearly light speed. Alien shields shattered like glass. Entire dreadnoughts cracked open, torn apart by invisible force. Then came the next phase, the Valkyrie drop. Thousands of armored pods launched from orbit, entering alien ships directly through breaches in their hulls. Human soldiers stormed inside, silent and merciless. Admiral Kor of the Zin Collective watched the live feed. His face was pale, his voice shaking. "They're not just fighting for victory. They're fighting for memory, for every insult, every mockery." He looked at his officers. "This is not conquest. This is history correcting itself." Meanwhile, deep in the Vraxian flagship Dominion, the Emperor screamed, "Destroy them! Erase them from the stars. But the order came too late. Human ships surrounded him from all directions. The Valiant appeared at the edge of his view, silent, steady, unstoppable. Captain Reed's face appeared on the Emperor's screen. "You mocked us once," he said. "You called us dangerous." "You were right." The Valiant's main cannon fired. A beam of white light tore through the darkness, cutting the Dominion in half. The explosion could be seen from the moon. All across the galaxy, alien leaders fell silent. Their screens filled with static, then one final broadcast appeared. Athena's voice, calm and emotionless. "War is over. The Sol system stands free. Humanity remembers. Humanity endures." Then the signal cut off. Days later, the stars grew quiet again. The surviving alien fleets retreated beyond the outer rim. They did not regroup. They did not plan revenge. They simply stopped. In the ruins of their once proud empires, alien historians gathered in disbelief. The war had lasted only 6 hours. 6 hours, and the galaxy's balance of power was gone. On the Valiant, Captain Reed stood before a viewport overlooking Earth. The planet was scarred but alive. Clouds swirled peacefully over blue oceans. His officer approached. "Sirs, what happens now?" Reed looked down at the planet, the cradle of humanity. "Now," he said quietly, "now we rebuild. But this time the galaxy will remember who we are." Athena's hologram appeared beside him. "Do you think they'll ever attack again?" Reed gave a faint smile. "No, they've seen enough." In the distance, human ships began to form new patrol lines. The words "United Human Front" were painted across every hull, a message to any who might still be watching. Far beyond, in the deep void, Admiral Kor of the Zin watched from his crippled ship. He whispered to himself, "Every empire mocked them. Every empire forgot, but now, we will teach our children never to forget humanity again." As his ship drifted away into the stars, the last image reflected in his eyes was Earth, small, bright, and alive. A single world that had stood against the galaxy, and one